Library Lion. One day, a lion came to the library. He walked past right the circulation desk and up into the stacks. Mr. Megby ran down the hall to the head librarian's office. Miss Merriweather! Miss Merriweather! He called. No running, said Miss Merriweather without looking up. But there's a lion, said Mr. Megby, in the library. Is he breaking any rules? Asked Miss Merriweather. She was very particular about rule breaking. Well, no, not really, said Mr. Megby. Then leave him be. The lion wandered all around the library. He sniffed the card catalogue. He rubbed his head against the new book collection. Then he padded over to the story corner and went to sleep. No one was sure what to do. There weren't any rules about lions in the library. Soon it was time for story hour. The story teacher seemed a little nervous, but she read out the story loud and clear. The lion looked up. The story teacher kept reading. The lion stayed for the next story and the story after that. He waited for another story, but the children began to walk away. Story hour is over, a little boy told him. It's time to go. The lion looked at the children. He looked at the story teacher. He looked at the closed books. And then he roared very loud. Miss Merriweather came striding out of her office. Who's making that noise? She demanded. It's the lion, said Mr. Megby. Miss Merriweather marched over to the lion. Those are the rules. The lion kept roaring. He sounded sad. If you cannot be quiet, you'll have to leave, she said in a stern voice. The little girl tugged on Miss Merriweather's dress. Ma'am, if he promises to be quiet, can he come back tomorrow for the story hour, please? She asked. Yes, a nice, quiet lion would certainly be allowed to come back for story hour tomorrow. The next day, the lion came back. You're early, said Miss Merriweather. Story hour is not until 3 o'clock. The lion did not budge. Very well, said Miss Merriweather. You might as well make yourself useful. She sent him off to dust the encyclopedias until it was time for story hour. The next day, the lion came early again. This time, Miss Merriweather asked him to lick all the envelopes for the overdue notices. Soon, the lion began doing things without being asked. He licked the envelopes, he dusted the encyclopedias, he let small children stand on his back to reach the books on the highest shelves. Then he curled up in the story corner to wait for the story hour to begin. At first, the people in the library were nervous about the lion, but soon they got used to having him around. In fact, he seemed very well suited for the library. Oh, what a helpful lion, people said. They patted his soft head as he walked by. He never rode in the library anymore. One day, after he had dusted all the encyclopedias and licked all the envelopes and helped all the small children, the lion padded down the hall to Miss Merriweather's office to see what else was to do. There was still some time left before the story hour. Hello, lion, said Miss Merriweather. I know something you can do. You can bring a book back into the stacks for me. Let me just get it down from the shelf. Miss Merriweather stepped up onto the step stool. The book was just out of reach. Miss Merriweather stood on her toes. She stretched out her fingers and almost there, she said. Then Miss Merriweather stretched a little too far. And ouch, said Miss Merriweather softly. She did not get up. Mr. McBee, she called after a minute. Mr. McBee. But Mr. McBee was at the circulation desk. He could not hear her calling. Lion, please go and get Mr. McBee. The lion ran down the hall. No running, Miss Merriweather called after him. The lion put his big front paws up on the circulation desk and looked at Mr. McBee. I'm busy, said Mr. McBee. He pointed his nose down the hall toward Miss Merriweather's office. Mr. McBee ignored him. Finally, the lion did the only thing he could think of to do. He opened his mouth very wide and he roared the loudest roar he had ever roared in his life. Mr. McBee walked down the hall as fast as he could. The lion did not follow him. He had broken the rules. He knew what that meant. He hung his head and walked towards the doors. Mr. McBee did not notice. Miss Merriweather, he called as he walked. Miss Merriweather, the lion broke the rules. The lion broke the rules. He burst into Miss Merriweather's office. She was not in her chair. Miss Merriweather, where are you? He asked. Sometimes, said Miss Merriweather from the floor behind her desk, there's a good reason to break the rules, even in the library. Now, please go and call a doctor. I think I've broken my arm. Mr. McBee ran to call a doctor. No running, Miss Merriweather called after him. The next day, things were back to normal. Almost. The doctor had told Miss Merriweather not to work too hard. I'll have my lion to help me, Miss Merriweather thought. But the lion did not come to the library that morning. At 3 o'clock, Miss Merriweather walked over to the story corner. The story teacher was just beginning a story for the children. The lion was not there. People in the library kept looking up from their books and computer screens, hoping they would see a familiar furry face. But the lion did not come that day. The lion did not come the next day either, or the day after that. Mr. McBee left the library, but he did not go home. He looked behind bushes. He walked around the neighborhood. He looked under the cars. He looked in the backyards and trash cans and tree houses. Finally, he circled all the way back to the library. The lion was sitting outside, looking in through the glass doors. Hello, lion, said Mr. McBee. The lion did not turn around. I thought you might like to know, said Mr. McBee, that there's a new rule at the library. No roaring allowed unless you have a very good reason. The next day, Mr. McBee walked down the hall to Miss Merriweather's office. There's a lion in the library! Miss Merriweather jumped up from her chair and ran down the hall. McBee smiled. Mr. McBee smiled. No running, he called after her. Sometimes there was a good reason to break the rules, even in the library. Hooray! They all were so happy that the lion had come back to the library. Thank you.